click import module definition and use the one that came with the module. And a little bit of magic here, if you go to the manifest and click the drop down, you'll see that because you're in the desktop modules folder, it scans down through looking for DNN files and it adds it to that drop down list automatically, so you don't have to go browse for it. And now click import manifest, and what it should do is create all of the, again, red is bad here, it should create all the definitions required. So then let's go back and look at what it created. Down here we'll find now rock.suggestion appears, and if we edit, we can see what you would have had to do manually. You enter your friendly names and your folder names and the controller class names, and okay, eventually you get down to the module definitions. This particular module has two modules. There's a suggestion module and a suggestions display module. And I'll run it in a second and show you how it works. Okay, but there's two. The idea being that you can have a suggestions module out there somewhere that anybody can, well, you set permissions on it for who can add suggestions to it. All right. And then the display module is typically used by an administrator to look at the suggestions that have been entered in all the suggestion modules that might be on your portal. So somebody who has page admin permission or actually has view permission to the display module on a page can see the suggestions entered on that page only. A person who's in the admin role of the portal in the display module can see suggestions from any suggestions module on the site. So I built it that way to demonstrate how you do the security checking stuff, how you the security code inside. So you want to kind of decompose. Security part is always the hardest to really get right. All right? So you get down inside, you can of this module or any module, you can see how they do the security stuff. Right. And then below that, here we have here's the friendly name. You can put a cache time for this module if you want. And here are the controls that get loaded. Suggestion is the main view control. Edit suggestion is what a user gets into. These are user controls now. This is what comes up if they want to add a suggestion. And then settings is the module settings page itself. Okay? And then down below here you can see the license and the release notes and the owner and all that other good stuff that was added in version 5. Okay? If we take a look at the other module, the display module, you'll see that there's only one user control, and it's just a display module. There's no settings or edit for this one. It's only a display module. All right, so that's the hookup in the .NETNuke module tables that allows this module to be added to a page. So now if we let's go to the test page, and we should find that there is nothing here, and we should be able to go to the module drop-down list and add a suggestions module to this page. Okay. What in the hell?
Oh, that's interesting.
It's one of those very specific DNN errors.
Wow.
I like how you worded that.
Never seen that happen before. Holy smokes.
That's the rock suggestion.
Suggestion fix module.
Boy, I tell you what, as many times as I walk through this stuff, I have never seen this error before. Ambiguous. It could come from assembly, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. So, tell you what. I think what I have to do is recompile.
Yes.
And I'm in the process of, this isn't fully tested yet. I've been working between, I think those DLLs may be before DLLs.
They're in there and you didn't rebuild your project.
Yeah, well,
so
okay.
It's not linked up.
So let's go into design mode. This is the whole point of this thing anyway, is to get into design mode and see what's going to happen. So normally, at this point, you'd be able to load the module and run it. Even though you got the source code sitting there, you're still running from the previously compiled assemblies, right? So all we're doing at this point is trying to make sure that the module works properly. And it doesn't. Sorry. Hate when that happens. All right, so let's go. So I'm going to run Visual Studio 2008, and I have it set up to automatically run it as administrator on my Vista machine.
And do you really need to do that with 2008? Run as administrator?
If you're using IIS, you have to. Normally, you don't need to run Visual Studio as an administrator, but unless if you're using IIS, you have to. Okay.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah, if you don't want to need that,
so I'm pretty sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I did. So I forgot to do a couple things. Of course, I'm trying to go fast now. All right. So let me go back and catch up. All right. So one of the things that I haven't done yet is I haven't edited my project file. So let me just edit that in Notepad and go to the bottom. And by default, you're going to find that the developer always puts in some sort of a path, and I just use .NetNuke. Okay, so my portal name is DNN D5R2.logo. That's my site name, and you have to change it in 2 places here. Okay. So you always have to change the project file because your URL isn't going to match what the developer was using, more than likely. Okay. So that's one thing.
The other project?
No, the other project doesn't have a path in it. So
that's right.
the provider project
Library.
So I'm just trying to think. There was one other thing I'm supposed to do here, and I can't remember what it was, but I'll find out in a moment. So let me close that solution. Close solution. And all right, so I like to get to it through, oh, jeez. So where's the start page?
Other windows, I think. Yeah, there it is.
All right, so now I can get back to my link. Okay, so now my project will open properly because it's got the correct URL. All right, so what I will do here then is
Oh, the output path. That's what you need to check.
well, actually, I guess the other thing really is to check the references at this point. So I show all files and go to my references. Just make sure there's nothing shown in yellow here for either project. So here's the data provider. Oops. References. And a lot of times you'll find that like this reference will be screwed up, or the reference to .NetNuke will be screwed up somehow. And if they are, just delete them and re-add your references. So we should be able to run this now. Oh, you know what? We got to have a running module in order to. All right. So what I'm going to do basically is just rebuild this. That's what I was trying to do. All right. 2 succeeded. And what I've done is I've got the project set up so that when you compile, it goes to the output path of the portal. So you don't use the local path, you use the output path of the portal. Same thing in the other project, except it's 5 sets of dots because it's going up 5 levels, the data provider project. Right? So you want to be sure that they're both, when they build, that up in the portal bin directory, these files get updated. So here's the DLL and the data provider DLL. So they both updated today. So hopefully, when I go back to the page now, and refresh, please. If this doesn't work, then we have a little problem because we can't run in design mode. Ambiguous. So it's telling me, or from assembly, then what? The same name. Oh. I changed the name of my. This is a last-minute change I was making in the book.
With the assembly name?
Yeah. So let me. Yum.
It's all real life stuff, so
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
Well, so this is what actually ends up being pretty interesting when you watch somebody struggle a little bit. So I got the assembly name. Oh, maybe
You gotta go delete the rocks.suggestion DLL.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But see the Okay, so let me just change this to. So I really want my assembly to be called rocks.suggestion.dll, not .modules.suggestion. Okay, so let me change that. Hopefully this will fix the problem. Go to the. Okay, so now the data provider will be called rocks.suggestion.SQLDataProvider.dll. All right, so now let me save this stuff and try to rebuild it.
Oh.
So now I got a reference problem. And I think it's probably because down here, my reference was to the other name. So let me delete that. Just add it back. So now I probably should have gone ahead and used my virtual PC with the one.